Alright, today we're going to try and create a team based around two of the new free-to-play pets. And these two units have something in common, which we'll see in a second when I show their abilities on screen. But although these units are free-to-play, this build kind of hinges on one specific pet from Puppy Pack, and we'll get to it later. But I guess you could come up with some alternatives, I think, if you really put your mind to it. So we get one of the units here on turn 2, and it is the Budgie. So Budgie is one of my favorites in terms of the new artwork. The vibrant green and yellow definitely makes it stand out compared to a lot of the other units. So here's its ability. Start of battle, replace own perk with popcorn and +1 health. Now the +1 health is just a nice bonus, but the thing we're really interested in is the popcorn. And popcorn is one of those interesting perks. I'm not sure it's really justified at tier 6. And in fact, multiple times in the past, I've requested changes that involve adding popcorn or making popcorn available for lower tier units earlier than turn 11. And so we actually end up getting 2 of them in this update, and the Budgie is one, and the other is the Vervet here. So the Vervet's ability is just to summon a microwave oven, which is a new toy. And here's the ability, start of battle, give popcorn perk to the frontmost perkless friend. So at first glance, it doesn't seem like this really makes any sense because we're going to give popcorn to the Budgie, and then the Budgie is probably going to do nothing. However, as you can see here, that's not how it works. The Budgie actually replaces the popcorn even though it already has popcorn. So a little bit different to the way some of the other abilities that involve perks behave. There are some other units in the game whose abilities involve gaining perks, and if they already have the same perk, their ability doesn't go off. So yeah, a little bit inconsistent, but it's going to work out pretty well for the build that we're trying to make here. So we take the partial level on the Budgie, we're going to save the level ups for turn 7 if at all possible. And then I find a frog, which is perfect because we can do some standard stat swapping with the Sphinx, which is a tier 2, because the Budgie's base stat line of 2-1 is just about as bad as it gets. We are going to win here. Yeah, that's fine. Now, of course, because we're gaining popcorn on the Budgie, I have actually put all the best tier 1 spawning pets. So we've got, I think it's cockroach plus cricket. I'm sure there's another one that summons something that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, I've just taken all the best possible summons at tier 1 because hopefully we're going to get some summon support into the team later on as well. Now that being said, I think actually this particular run that is making it into the video, things don't go exactly the way I want them to. But at the end I'll show an additional clip with the original team comp that I really wanted to go for, but it wasn't quite working out for whatever reason. Now we're moving on to turn 7, we can take our level ups and hopefully find what we need for the team. Now you could have actually justified keeping Flying Squirrel there, but I decided I was just going to risk it and keep looking for waffles to keep the toy going from the Vervet. Now here we can't buy the axolotl yet because the Budgie abilities aren't going to go off unless they actually gain a perk. And the only way they're going to gain a perk is if we activate the toy, so we just don't have enough gold in this particular situation. But since we have a waffle in shop, I'm just going to freeze it, and I'm going to do the same thing every time I find one to make sure we can keep regenerating the toy. Now, I also froze another new food item, which is the oyster mushroom. And we're going to be able to put that on the axolotl and have it transform the Vervet in battle. Since its ability is just to help us gain the toy in the shop, it's not really going to do anything in battle, and the oyster mushroom is the perfect solution to that. So now we give the axolotl the oyster mushroom. It actually buffs itself now, which it didn't used to do. And now I think you can see how this is going to work. The 2 Budgies are going to gain popcorn, and then they're going to regain popcorn. And with the 2 axolotls, we're actually going to gain +4/4 per turn onto these tier 1 units. It's kind of funny really because generally I don't like keeping tier 1s into the late game, but for the sake of showing off these 2 new abilities, I think we can make an exception. Now we do tie here, But I think with the rate at which we're going to start gaining stats from this point onwards, probably not going to draw too many games. Now, I could take Mosasaurus there since the toy is about to break, but I think I'm looking for the other unit that I was originally going to take in this team, and that was the turkey. I guess I could have also taken Amalgamation, but I'm not sure if I had it in this pack. Yeah, okay, we do end up taking a different Mosasaurus, and we'll only keep one of the waffles frozen. We don't need to clog up the food shop with both. We could also potentially go for the level 3 Budgie just to try and get the achievement out of the way. So we actually end up facing this opposing axolotl team with the tiger, but as you can see, our Budgie setup completely destroys them, which I find pretty amusing. So the Mosasaurus is going to activate, and then we'll just buy the Vervet. Actually, we could go for the level 3 on that as well. I do pass up the Budgie there. I guess I'm just looking for the turkey rather than go for anything else. Okay, so we'll take the level up on the Vervet. Obviously that doesn't activate the level 3 toy. However, we can just use the waffle next turn. But the Budgie's gaining 4/4 per turn, this method. It's so powerful. It did take me quite a few attempts to actually get this all set up, you know, not losing too many of the early turns. But once it gets going, it's pretty obnoxious. So we'll take the chocolate on the axolotl. And yeah, we're just rolling down. We do find another Budgie. We don't find the turkey that I was hoping for. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I set up the pack with the best tier 1 summons, so that if we did find a turkey, then we're going to get the best possible value we can out of those units that are spawning. Okay, so the toy breaks, we activate the Vervet, and actually now the Vervet itself is going to gain popcorn as well, so it's going to get 1 buff from the axolotl. I guess it would actually buff itself as well, since it's going to become an axolotl before the toy activates. So yeah, you can see there I rolled down, didn't find any turkeys. So we're actually just going to freeze up another axolotl and just go full greed for the most amount of stats possible onto these Budgies. The units are actually huge here for turn 12, and we're going to end up beating this Leviathan team. I think maybe in a couple of turns' time we're going to struggle against them, but for now we're able to get the job done. And in the absence of a turkey, we get 2 more axolotls. So I think now the Budgies are actually going to gain plus 8/8 per turn. So it's not going to take very long before they hit 50/50. But that's not going to happen because we end up facing this 4 squad on turn 13. Even the level 2 rabbit here isn't going to make any difference, because the stats that the axolotls are providing are just absolutely absurd. And I think we're actually going to take down the achievements for both the Vervet and the Budgie. To be honest, I hadn't really used them very much before this point, so it's not surprising getting both of the achievements at the same time there. So here's the build I was talking about before. It's very, very similar. All I wanted was a turkey to go along with the axolotl, so that the popcorn kind of has a bit more relevance and it's not just about the stat gain. But yeah, this was a very promising run, and here on turn 14 I end up facing this person. They've been in other videos already. They've just been going for the broken 50/50 shop with the Nordic goats over and over for weeks. But yeah, we had an extra heart intact there, so we go again for turn 15 and hope that we can face something a bit more reasonable. But instead, the game gives me the exact same person, and no, it's not the same team. They really are just running this over and over again. So yeah, pretty fun build. Clearly much stronger if you just take all axolotls instead of trying to add the turkey in there as well. But it would have been nice if the popcorn summons had been a little bit more relevant.